I guess we're live now. Hey, it's Friday afternoon here on the East Coast, Atlanta. Actually, a beautifully sunny day, but I woke up to 20 degrees today, so it could be a little better. But hey, I'm not complaining because it's Small Biz Trends Breakdown time. And when I do this, I never do this alone. I kind of like being alone, but not for this show. All right, joining us all the way from Oregon, Leland McFarland.
Good to be on.
What's
It's
the
it's hmm?
what's the good word out there in Oregon today?
It's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend to kick up my feet and probably do a little bit more work, just because that's what you do when you're a small business owner.
Yeah, that is kind of what you do. And you know what I do? I go to Medina, Ohio next, where even Taylor resides.
Hey everyone, welcome from Norman Rockwell, beautiful Medina.
And what's the good word out in Medina today?
It's a beautiful, chilly day, a great day. And like Leland, I too will be using the weekend to actually learn and create like AI agents or something.
Oh my God, really?
That's what I'm doing.
So working, creating the agents.
Yeah, because it's like harder. Even it says no code, it's hard. So I will persevere.
She will
in the snow.
She will overcome.
I
She
will
is.
overcome.
She is the Madam Mic Drop. All right. Next, and certainly least, it is the bold one. It is the cold one. Some might call him something else, but I will stay away from that for today. I'll just call him Mr. John Lawson.
Call it.
What's the good word, sir?
It's cold AF here in Atlanta.
That's the good word.
Yes, and it's cold in my office.
Damn, I broke out like the heavier hoodie. This isn't even a Rams. It's like a jacket. I don't even have I couldn't even put a Rams thing on.
It's that cold, right?
I'm dressed like a snowman.
Yeah.
And so are your fingernails, apparently.
And my fingernails are sparkly snow.
Wow.
Mine too.
Leland, do you want to add on to that, or no?
I went playing in the snow earlier and made a snowman. But
do you have snow, Leland?
We got it over the week or last, quite a bit. Dumped at the beginning of the week, last week weekend, and so my son and I we went out and I made an 8-foot snowman.
Nice.
Wow.
8 foot. Wow. All right.
Yeah, it fell over like an hour later, but it was fun.
Did the snow emergency team come out and like build them again, resuscitate? Yeah. All right, I'm done. I tried to extend this, but yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right.
Take us where we need to go today.
Well, that could be dangerous. All right, so as usual, I like to start with some kind of something to see if you know some stuff. All right, so here's one I just got. Let's see, put this up here. I should have put the source down here, but I don't have it. I got this from some article, but it looks like it's a pretty good article. But I just noticed I don't see any like sources cited on this. But the article says 50 plus must know small business statistics and facts for 2025. So that's where I got it from. All right. 2 of the primary reasons why business owners, and this is really small business owners, decide to start their own businesses are blank and blank. Give me one or both. Either you want to take a shot.
S&M.
What? What?
I'm not at the.
You got to be crazy to start your own business. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, you're crazy, so take a guess.
I don't know. I think financial. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why people start.
I'm going to take a guess.
All right.
One is control. To control your own destiny, to just a sense of control, controlling your time, controlling your destiny. And I am going to say freedom. I don't want to use financial freedom, but I'm stuck on control, right? So I don't know what the second one would be, but that's why I'm saying, the freedom to control and freedom. I don't know. Are those the same?
Kind of, but
there's a Venn diagram at least that
yeah,
there's a little
like right, making money, because like where I'm going with this is typically, this is anecdotal. When I talk to people who started their own business, they're like, I don't want to make money for someone else. If I'm going to be making X amount of money, I'm going to do it for myself. So that's why I'm using the word freedom. I don't know.
Okay.
Anybody.
Leland?
I say that one, they're tired of their boss and they're just done and they're walking out and they're like, I'm going to do it myself. And the other is, I'm going to go with finances. It's like a stay-at-home mom or something like that wants to start up a business, little side hustle to bring in a little bit of extra money.
All right. And John, you're locked in?
Locked into what? He hasn't said anything. What'd you say? S&M.
I don't know. Yeah, S&M.
Masochistic tendencies.
Yeah. I think, so I like freedom, time freedom, and financial.
Okay. All right. Those are good answers, I think.
But the real answers are?
Let's see what the survey says. Ready to be their own boss, 28%. Overall dissatisfaction with America's corporate landscape. That's pretty broad.
Yeah, these are all.
Yeah, both of those are kind of broad.
Yeah. Well, ready to be their own boss. I could see that as like control almost, right? Even isn't that kind of?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like the ready to be your own boss, because it's almost value is what I've been grooving on this week, and that is you're spending 10, 12 hours a day somewhere, or I should say 8 to 12 hours. A lot of people are working long hours. Maybe they're working multiple jobs, and you're just not getting the value for that. COVID showed us that. The people stuck at home were like, hey, I can do this. I can work and attend, be there for my kids.
What about the overall dissatisfaction with America's corporate landscape? Why do you think that's so high up? And not more personal related.
Have you ever seen the show, the movie Office Space?
Oh yeah,
read a Dilbert comic.
I've never filled out a TPS 40 either. I love that movie. It's
a great movie, and it does speak to the problems when it comes to the corporate landscape. It can be repetitive, it could be boring, or it could be incredibly frustrating because your boss is underqualified or is a micromanager, or any number of issues. You have to deal with coworkers that are annoying.
That's true.
That like you said, that's a broad thing to say, and it could be anything from my boss is an idiot, or the company I work for is screwing me over, or the Karen next door is making my life miserable.
It's almost to the point where they feel like one bad experience is representative of all of corporate America, and so they don't want to even touch it anymore after that one bad experience, because they just figure it's not just theirs anywhere they go in corporate.
Well, that's an age question, Brent. Right? For those of us that have done multiple corporate experiences, it takes more than one. I'm kind of curious at like, are Gen Zs starting lots more businesses? Because let's say my son is a solid Gen Z. He'll be turning 25 here in a few weeks. He's had one corporate job. He's about to go into another one. Right. But I don't consider him to be super entrepreneurial. So let's say I'm curious about the Gen Z entrepreneurs, because I have seen some creators in my socials that are like, I'm not even going to corporate. Like, that's not even a thing.
Did we have a question a couple of weeks ago around like which generations are the ones that are most likely to start a small business? And it was still baby boomers and Gen Xers and like these younger generations don't seem to be doing small businesses as much as like the previous generations were.
Well, they're creators. They're doing YouTube and TikTok and
Yeah, I still think
like
they
what
are.
John is doing, like these e-commercey things. Because to start a, I'm going to use the word physical small business, a brick and mortar, or like something like that. You need assets. You need money. Kids don't have money.
So are they? So do they? They do not see themselves as a traditional business person. They see themselves as a creator, and somehow that allows them not to have to do certain things that most of us have to do to start a business.
I'd see them more as like a side hustle. They're the ones that are going to be doing the Ubers, the Lyft, the Uber Eats. The things that they can do on the side while they have their own job in the daytime, until maybe, and they cross their fingers and they hope maybe it'll break through and I can, get something a little bit more, and make it a full-time job.
That's the way I kind of think it is. It's like, does anybody really want to just be known as or just do like a side hustle, or are they doing it because they need to do something to make money?
I guess it depends all on the situation, and who it is. I mean, if you were working a corporate job and you hate it, but you want something more, then you try to find that side hustle that could potentially become a business, and you can, say goodbye to the boss. But then there's a lot of, potentially, like I know of a lot of housewives who fall into the multi-level marketing business, and they always come with you are making your own business, as a way to kind of draw it in. And then they're hoping that just brings in extra money. They don't really possibly think that they're going to be making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. But, if it brings in enough to keep the power on, that's good enough for them.
Why aren't there more of the kind of millionaire next door type millennials and Gen Zers, like folks that are like plumbers and mechanics, and those guys make a lot of money, but it's not glamorous stuff. And yet, and still, you see them more. Well, I don't want to generalize too much, but it just feels like those kind of opportunities are there, but they're not glamorous enough. They're not something that you would have to put on YouTube and have people look at you and want to be like you. But it makes a lot of money. Why? It just feels like, given the option between something like a side hustle or a content creator, that we know there's not that many people making a killing at. There's a certain people at the high end are making more than a killing, but most people are not. And then you've got like these unglamorous opportunities to learn a trade or a skill and make some serious money, but it feels like that is overlooked for the potential glamour. Why do you think that's the case?
Apprenticeships. So I had I asked that question. I had my HVAC guy here. This is a while ago, I think, and he came in, and I'm going to say a younger guy, but he was also the son of the owner.
Oh,
it's a really old local business. So he's the son of the owner. He doesn't like to say that he's the son of the owner. He doesn't like to tell people that. I'm going to say he's probably 40-ish now, right? And he comes in and he just opens this thing up. He's like, oh, blah, 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 right? And he's done, takes care of business. And I said, my goodness, I said, how long did it take for you to learn this? He says, well, right. He explains that he's the son of the owner and that his dad has been taking him out on jobs from the time he was like 10. Right. So he's like there when he wasn't in school, he was going out with his dad. Right. And this is kind of, I remember being a little girl and having the local plumber come, and he had his kid with him. Right. So if you didn't grow up like that, right, you have to learn these things. And to learn these things, you've got to go to a technical school. Then like you need hands-on experience of all the things that can go wrong, of all the things that you recognize. There is people like, I consider that highly skilled labor. And I think if you're a mechanic or if you're anything like that, my God, you need a computer degree because like all the cars are computers now. So if you're in manufacturing, you need highly technical skills. I work in manufacturing. It's not dirty anymore. It's not, I think, what people think it is, but it does require a huge investment in time. You're not going to get that immediate gratification. That's just my anecdotal observation.
I live in an area.
Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. I live in an area, a lot of blue collar workers, and a lot of them do kind of branch out, make their own business. They learn the trade. There's a lot of paths to learning how to become an electrician, a plumber, all that stuff. And usually you're working with a company and they're kind of teaching you as you're going. You're in your intern kind of stage, and you get all the way up to journeyman, and then at that point you essentially leave debt free, but you're making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 depending on what you pick. Like there's electricians out there, and especially where I live, where there's Amazon facilities, there's signs all over the place. Once you become a journeyman, you're up to like $80,000 a year. And even though there's a lot of, I got a friend, he does beautiful tile work. He will not start his own business. He is afraid to death to start his own business and have to do the paperwork. Even though his wife is very well versed in all of the paperwork, they could easily do it. They just like, no, I'm scared. I want that consistent paycheck, and I will take less money in order to know that month after month, I'm going to have that paycheck. I'm going to have that insurance. It's just, they get hung up on that.
John, you were going to say something.
John?
I don't know if that's I don't know. What are we pulling from to say that that's not a job that is growing? I don't have. There's houses being built every day, so somebody's got to put the plumbing in. There's
definitely a lack of this type of work. I know from talking to these local businesses, like I was just telling you guys, they really, whether it's people that are installing flooring and tile, oftentimes they're subcontracting with independent folks, right, who are the go-to subcontractor. But it's the same complaint I hear in manufacturing. And this is a conversation. A lot of small businesses say this: I can't find good people.
Yeah.
Friends of ours.
Now that we could talk about.
That's a common.
Now that's an issue.
No, but I think they go hand in hand. Why can't you find good people? Maybe those good people don't want to do that particular thing because they'd rather
maybe we don't
become a
have
content creator or
that
something
we
like
had
that.
when we were in school. We had shop classes and auto classes.
They don't have that anymore in school?
No.
Well, they do, because my son went to a career center, and our career center in our town has a dual track. So you can take like diesel, mechanic, you can take what I would call the blue collar path, which is highly lucrative.
Exactly.
Like, right? And my son had a friend who did diesel mechanics or something. He was making bank, no college debt, everything, right? Now, my son went on the college path at the career center. And you can take everything from communications, web design, he did medical technology, for example. So that prepares you to go to college to be in the medical field. So he graduated with a BS degree in pharmacy, right? So, and that prepares you for that path. So, and some of these career centers, you guys, I can tell you from ours, when I went to see, when you have parent day or whatever, they had a freaking hospital set up for his. And then for like firefighting and different things, this is for real. These are not like shop like we had, guys. These are like, they had hospital rooms. They had like all the equipment. They had all this stuff, right? So, and the web design and like video production or like whatever, they had like stuff. These kids were having a work experience, which I felt was a really great idea. I think some of these kids and the way they treated them, they had to show up for work. My son wore scrubs for 2 years every day. You wear scrubs, you have to look a certain way, you have to be clean shaven, you can't show any tattoos. They had like all the rules. It's just depending on what your track was, right?
Yeah, I just think there was a big shift, where everybody was like, learn to code. And we went to this technical route for many, decades. And some of the blue collar training in certain areas, of course, not all areas, but in certain areas were minimized. And I think we're going to see a swing the other way very soon coming. Soon come.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think that swing is going to be towards? By the way, yes, Ramon, we're missing you. Have fun at, what is that? Creative Con? Interesting. Never heard of that one. You got to fill us in on that one when you get back. All right. So tell us where do you think things are going to swing towards?
It's going to swing back towards, vocational training. Trains.
Right? Because you think about it.
Training.
AI. I mean, in what way, I would ask myself the question, which I think is an interesting question. In what ways can AI replace your technician? I went and got my nails done today, but I have also seen videos. Is it in Asia? Is it somewhere where there is a thing you stick your hand in and it gives you this perfect manicure? Like how that happens, I do not know. So I'm kind of curious. I think that's a question everyone has to ask themselves. Is in what ways will technology impact all these different things, whether it's landscaping, whether it's electrical, and I don't think we should be short-sighted enough to think about it in terms of like an HVAC person coming to my house. Because we used to have computer people come to our house.
Yeah,
right? I had a computer guy come to my house.
Yeah.
I mean, as global climate change, whatever you want to call it, causes more disasters, that requires more rebuilding, which will require more people that have these skills. And as more people don't have the skills, there's just a vacuum right now. Even right now, if you have these trade skills, you can find a job. I don't know anybody that has AC certification that can't find a job, but I know a lot of people that can code that can't find a job.
But what about people who want to find a job, don't necessarily have those particular skills, but you could probably find a job that'll teach you that. But it just feels like the impetus right now is not focused on certain what I would call, I guess some people might call, inglorious kind of positions. Whereas most, let's put it like this: how many video editors do we need today, or how many folks do we need starting YouTube channels do we need today versus the stuff that we just talked about? It feels to me like there's definitely an overabundance of certain things compared to the stuff that we're talking about.
That's where you're at. You're on.
But I'm just saying, why is that?
Talking about, wow, everybody seems to be video. Yeah, I mean, of course, that's where you're at. It's the water you're swimming in.
Yeah, but I'm not
sure there are plenty.
But look, let me kind of can I rebut to that? Because I'm not trying to like build a subscriber base.
I know, but let me just put this out, okay?
Well, you put me in, so I gotta respond to that.
Jobs like plumbing and HVAC repair are very popular. They're in high demand in 2025. These skilled trades offer stable employment opportunities and competitive salaries. So I don't see this problem that we seem to be trying to act like there is. There's not a problem here.
Have you seen the South Park episode? So there is a South Park episode where all the accountants and mid-level managers are hanging outside the Home Depot. And
yes,
and you know what's his name? That. Like Jose the landscaper comes in, or the HVAC guy comes in with their truck, and they're like, "I need workers," and the county guys are like,
"Somebody to handle my books." Yeah,
wasn't that what Leland was talking about last week before we got into the cotton stuff? But and no, look, let me just respond a little bit to that, because I think there are great opportunities for the stuff that you're talking about, but I don't think that message is getting to the masses of people, because they're really focused on that shiny object, which is, I want to be an influencer.
Because you can do that. You can, it's the difference between being busy and being productive. Right. So you might have a population of people who think like, I can just be busy making videos and doing this trial and error thing to hit it. Right. Versus knowing that to be in the trades, there is what I would call economic barrier to entry. It's more like a mental barrier to entry.
I would say more mental than
right. You've got to, you would have to, right. Like get a certification. Then on top of that, you've got to go work for a company and travel around with these experienced people and do stupid stuff. But I will tell you, I have had a cable guy in my house who was a mechanical engineer who had a career working in corporate, who said, I am so much happier right now. Right. So he had to make a pivot with his engineering skills. So his training as an engineer to think a certain way, whether that's troubleshooting or whatever, helped him, right, complete whatever certification he needed to be like a cable guy.
Yeah.
And he was making good money. He was.
If I had it to do over again, I think about this a lot. I mean, and I got both undergrad and a graduate degree free, because it was all on scholarship for me, and I got some good job opportunities and learn some skills. But if I had to do all over again, knowing what I know about how much money these folks make, I might not be doing what I'm doing right now. I might be one of those folks that are million next year that would never be in front of a camera or talking, because a lot of the stuff that I do, I never thought I'd be doing. I never wanted to go out and speak in front of a group of people. That's never been me. But if I had learned how to make some money without having to do that, you'd never see me. I'd be like on my own little island of sorts with my money and my lack of people knowing me, because that was something I didn't know could make the kind of money back in the day. I was trained to go to college and get an accounting degree, which I never used because I never liked accounting. And then I went and got a master's degree, and then I went into corporate. That was what that was the path that was laid out for me, because that's the way you're supposed to get a good job. But if I had known about this stuff when I was like coming up, I might be like the best mechanic or HVAC dude that has like several million in the bank and walking around like I look, because you didn't have to get a haircut. You didn't have to get shaved. You didn't have to go to a school. You didn't have to do all that stuff. You can still get paid. And it feels like that is still overlooked to a certain extent when you look at the shiny object, which is.
I completely disagree.
I'm sure you do. How many million content creators are out there versus how many HVAC?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So yes. So okay, so there's not a lot of plumbers on YouTube talking
I'm not
about.
talking about just YouTube. I'm just
Look,
in general.
but this is what you're talking about. This is why you didn't know, because it ain't on YouTube.
Because it's not glorified. It was not it was not something that said,
that's what I'm
Brent,
saying.
you should go to a trade school. It was, Brent, you should go to college, get a good accounting degree. You'll get a job in corporate, and you'll have a great career path.
Brent,
I'm just saying, I wish I had known that there was something else out there.
I wish you knew
instead of that.
I wish you knew that.
And I wish a lot more people today know there's way more out
I
there.
wish you knew that.
Turning on a camera and trying to get people to subscribe. That's all I'm saying.
We can't all be like you, John.
I'm just saying, look, when I was a kid,
thankfully,
my father told me I did an apprenticeship at a AC place. My dad told me back then, if you learn how to do AC, you'll never have to worry about income again. And the guy I was riding around in the truck with, he was, hat to the back, his, what do you call those? Overalls on, big dude, right? We're riding around, in his truck all day. Then I go to his house and he's got 2 sports cars and he lives on this, so this idea, the idea that these trades, don't make a lot of money is a farce. And I only believe it's a farce because the people that are on social media talking about you should become a, TikTok star is just so prevalent in
we're saying
culture.
The same thing. It feels like we're saying the same thing.
I'm not saying the same thing because you're saying that you didn't have this opportunity when you were younger. And I'm saying some of us did, a lot of us did. That's how we got people today that are our age that own these companies making $400,000, $500,000 a year.
There was a book called The Millionaire Next Door because there was a lot of people like me, like in that Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy that we grew up and it was kind of forced on us that if you really want to have a great life and have a good career, you have to do certain things.
You got to be a doctor, a lawyer, go to school.
And like that Rich Dad guy, Poor Dad guy, he said, my poor dad was actually the guy that was the PhD dude that he did everything the right way. But his rich dad was the guy that didn't go to school, that learned, certain trades and did it a different way. And he ended up being the guy that made the money where the PhD dude was the poor dad. I'm saying, and then that, like I said, that Millionaire Next Door thing, most people look at the education level and, the title at a job as what's the success level versus the mechanic guy, the HVAC guy who comes to even his house. You left out the best part of the story though, even after he came in and looked a couple minutes, said, "Oh, this is what it is," and here's the bill, ma'am.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm looking even at my son's experience. He was really, you could see that he was sort of like disappointed. He's like, God, I suffered through this pharmacy degree and I'm making as much as people who haven't gone to college. And the opportunity he's exploring now is in manufacturing, where you could be on the floor. What I mean when you say on the floor, working on the floor, right? In production. And be making more than any kind of college grad, right? And then they're going to like move you around and do some of these different things. And so, I think that a lot of kids in there, I have seen some creators who are telling the story of you don't have to go to college. You don't have to be in debt, right? I would love to see Millionaire Next Door. I'd love to see that study done again because that is an old book. What is that, 35 years?
It was like late 90s,
right?
Late 90s, I think. Yeah.
I would love to see that study, whatever it, that was an observation that turned into a thing, right?
I was asked to speak at a truck repair, or I don't know what you would call it, but anyway, it was a bunch of truck repair people, right? And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do there? And I get there and it is exactly what you would expect. A lot of dudes with their hats on backwards and jeans, all white. I'm the only black guy in the room. Well, there's another guy, a couple, one or two. We always find each other. We kind of do that.
Did you guys make eye contact?
We make eye contact.
Yeah.
We do the secret handshake. So they wanted me to teach on AI, and I could see all of them when I get up to talk about AI technology. All of them were like, "This ain't good. This is some bullshit. We ain't even paying no attention." So, like for the first 15 minutes, it was that until I'm a fun guy. So, but afterwards, a week after, the lady that did the show told me how well it was received, how much they really enjoyed it, all of that, and they took a lot of stuff and put it in their business. The thing that I was going to say was when I drove up, the trucks that I saw in that damn parking lot looked like I was like, damn, I didn't know they made trucks this big, this shiny, with all this stuff on it. Those rims, oh my God. I mean, it was like, dude, everybody in that room was doing 6 figures and above, easy, And so I just think it's, but they're not on YouTube talking about, you should be like me, and I'm flying a private jet today. I mean, it's just.
I think you completely keep missing my point. I'm not saying they should be on YouTube. They don't care about YouTube because they're doing something, and it doesn't matter how many people are watching videos on YouTube or how many people want people to watch their videos on YouTube. They're just doing something that most people don't know that they can make that much money from. But it's there. I think maybe there's something to be said about getting that new. What is the new Millionaire Next Door? There are some new kinds of things going on that maybe a lot of people don't know that could be made the modern Millionaire Next Door that have nothing to do with what everybody thinks they have to do in order to become that. And I would love to hear more about those kind of people. We get oversaturated with all these other kind of people. So I would like to hear more of that.
That's your real point.
I said oversaturation like 10 minutes ago.
That's your real point. You just really want to hear more about
it. Because I think more people need to know that there are more things that they could do that could potentially make as much or more than what they think they could do on content creation. That's all.
You could sell shoelaces, guys.
You could do that. Exactly.
You got to break the stigma. I mean, that's the big thing is the stigma on doing hard, dirty, nasty, filthy work. Because when you are a plumber, when you're an electrician, when you're a diesel mechanic, you're grubby. You come home and you just have to take 2 showers because it's nasty work. You're going to be in crawl spaces where there are going to be spiders. I remember I got my HVAC replaced out, and the person comes up and he's like, "Yeah, you got a couple of black widows down there. You need to probably get that taken care of." And it's just like, no, I don't want to be around black widows. But that's been the thing. I graduated in 2002, and so I'm at that like just at the beginning of the millennial kind of age group, and that was the stigma. You don't want to go in and be a plumber. That's dirty work. That's nasty work. Go and work in the corporate
office,
white collar. You don't have to go drudging around underneath a house, and have sewage spill on you.
Oh, God.
Or work with hooking up gas furnaces or hot water heaters and potentially blow something. I have a friend who did plumbing and stuff like that. He didn't hook up the gas just right, and it was leaking out a little bit. He caught it, but he was in a hurry, and if he didn't catch it, that whole house could have went boom, and it would have been on him. But there's that stigma. There's the stigma of all of that going around it. And it's like, even though, you're making good money, is it worth, there's that balance. Is it worth drudging around and in a whole bunch of filth to be able to make that kind of money? And that's the breaking of especially when, wow, I could just sit at home and play video games and stream.
Yeah.
Well, I used to sit at home.
Appealing?
I used to sit at home and watch them. I mean, Dirty Jobs was one of my favorite shows, right? I used to love that show, man. But hey, I don't want to hang out.
I'm always so grateful. Like, look at today was garbage day. These guys, you know, and I think that's a great job. That's a city job, though, right? Being
Not where
garbage.
live, but-
I have a friend, I believe, who is a garbage man. Put
Mhm.
3 kids through college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did great, and I am so grateful to them because that is in every weather, in every just wow. And I see,
Yeah.
you know, people throw out couches, people throw out appliances. These things are like heavy.
You know, and I don't think this is a new phenomena. Like we were saying, that book was written in the mid to late 90s. There are things going on today that I bet a lot of people don't know about, but there's a small group of folks making a killing doing something that they're not even thinking about right now.
And we don't even know. Think about when that book was written. Think about like the people he was talking about. He was talking about teachers. He was talking about cable splicers. He was talking about business owners, primarily small business.
Small
owners,
business owners, yeah.
right? And you got to remember, like what we talked about last week, the economy was very, very different at the time that book was written, and the people that were included in that sample were people in their 50s and 60s back in the 90s. So you had boomers who, I'm sorry, but were like living their best life and continue to live their best life because they bought a house for $25,000.
Exactly. They unfortunately,
and even if you tack on a zero, they bought a house, let's call it for $250,000 today dollars. That's still a deal.
yeah. And I guess we'll move on from this, but it's just, I think it's just all the things that we just talked about. I think if we were able to get more of the younger generations to understand there are other things available to them, not saying that they have to do it, but I just don't feel like they know, or they look down, like Leland is saying, there's a stigma. And so they don't even look further because the stigma keeps them from even digging in and then finding out, oh my God, I might be able to do this.
I think they're
doing that.
I think they're very, I would just like to pay my rent and move out of my parents' house focused. And I think the stigma is quickly disappearing because money, don't matter where it comes from, spends the same.
Yeah. That's a mic drop there, even though just thought I'd point that out. All right. So we heard the economy brought up a bit. Today, I believe or maybe it was yesterday or today a full month into the first or the new administration, and I saw this article. Small businesses struggle to find their footing 1 month into Trump 2.0. Uncertainty is running high on Main Street after a deluge of economic policy changes, with some entrepreneurs reporting unpaid invoices and other funding worries. A month in, I know I asked this a lot, but it seems like it's been a year at this point with all that is going on. Like I think 1,300 people from some department just got axed last night. Are you feeling good about where we are right now?
Kind of, yeah.
Well, okay. So why? Please explain why. I'm really curious.
I don't know. I'm just that probably because I don't read stories like that all day. You know, I'm like, where did that come from? Who wrote that?
That was
story?
NBC News. But...
Oh, darn. You think? Right? Look at Leland. It's like, come on.
Oh, I could get this. You're not going to get some from certain places.
I don't know.
You could get some from other places.
I think no matter
30 days, bro. Give it a break.
Not even that. I think I am I'm consistently floored. I think we could all be living in tents, and if you surveyed small businesses, they'd be like, yeah.
Why would that be the case?
Because they're just an optimistic bunch. It's an optimistic psychographic. Because they think that this is the magical part. Because the economy is like psychological, right? It's a psychological thing.
All right, let me ask you this, Eva, before you get going there. you think they think it's great for them or great for them and great for the whole U.S. economy? I'm
Now
just
think
curious.
about it.
Is it
Think-
bifurcated? Because a
I
lot of
don't
people
know.
say it's great for me, but I think it's hideous for the overall.
This country is built as an immigrant, I will say. This country is built on the promise, right, of going from nothing to something, right? Back in the 90s, when I was in grad school, in the 90s, between 94 and 96, because that's when I was in grad school, I remember that the study came out for the very, very first time that said mobility in the US is now below that of Europe, meaning that you were more likely to go from nothing to something in Europe than you were in the US.
Mm.
Where you were born, how you were born, like what your past was going to be more likely to determine your future. But the beauty is that the dream is there. And I've been saying lately, we will eat shit and call it ice cream.
Yeah, that was a mic drop, but not the one I'm used to.
I know, but like we will take the very same circumstances, and depending on who's in power, we're going to call it crap, but we're going to call it ice cream, right? And like, so my point is that it's psychological. It's psychological. So people are like, the data shows it ain't going to happen for you. Like, you will not become Elon Musk. You are more likely to get struck by lightning 3 times in the same day. Okay. Like, that is like not going to happen for you. And yet we have that dream. And that is the beauty of like the entrepreneurial mindset. Sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it works against you, but it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's psychological. So like right now, people, like John says, people are just saying what they're saying. But I think if the, what is it, Chamber of Commerce did a survey, or like the conference board or whatever, you're going to find that 40% of all entrepreneurs are going to be like, this is awesome. Whether it's awesome for them or not, they believe that the possibility of awesome.
Well, let's deal with some of the numbers, because you know me, I'm going to look stuff up.
Did you? Thank you.
Yes. Fiserv Small Business Index for January 2025 was 147, which is a 1-point increase from December 2024. 50% of all small businesses expect their revenue to increase in 2025. 39% of small business owners view the economy as excellent or good. But here's this. One more.
Just give me the date, please, of this. I'm just curious.
This is today.
When was the survey taken?
This is Q1. I did search on Q1 2025, right?
Okay.
So year over year, small businesses grew 5.1%, and transactions increased by 6.5% compared to January 2024. Month over month sales are up that was 0.5%.
That was January 2024 to January 2025?
Right. It's
all right.
up.
So that was under the previous administration.
No. He's talking about this came out for this quarter.
Yeah, but he said the stats are coming between January 2024 and January 2025.
They're comparing 24 to 25.
Exactly.
January.
So
it's increased.
Okay. So it's increased
before
the current administration took office, though, right?
Well, that's what we're talking about, aren't we?
No, I said a month in, but because this is in the
February. You got to wait till February ends to do the February number.
I said it was a month in. I'm just saying a month in from the time he swore to the time now. It's been a full month. I just asked you guys, what are you thinking?
Understand that, like, I don't know what the voter data is, but let's just pretend that the proportions of small business owners who, let's say, voted for Trump and that economy, and that's what they voted on, right? And that same percentage is also responding to these surveys, right? So I just started this whole thing by saying they're going to eat crap and call it lemonade. They can take this survey 3 months from now, and you're going to see similar numbers. The world would have to crumble, and in spite of it crumbling,
They would still be optimistic about this.
they would be
I don't know.
optimistic.
I just feel like everybody wants the world to crumble, and that bothers me. That really does bother
What
me.
good does the world crumbling do for anybody?
Well, that's the same. That's what's the good is that story?
A
Not a
crumbled
story.
world
It
is
was a
easy to
question.
control.
It was a literal question.
No, I'm saying the story, the writer
story.
of the story. But go ahead, Leland. I want to hear Leland. real quick.
I will say though, a broken world is easier to control than one where people are confident in their own abilities. If they're in a better financial situation, they're not as easy to control as if someone who is broken down and in a desperate mode, and then someone comes in power saying, "I could fix it all for you if you follow me."
Damn, I hadn't really
like a
thought about
TikTok
that.
creator. I can fix it all.
Like a TikTok.
But in reality, you can't get any kind of bellwether right now, 30 days in. And that's why I think the story is just a hack job.
All I would say is this is always going to be the case. Everybody is always constantly checking the pulse of everything. That's why they have a daily, like, what's it, Gallup, a daily approval rating thing. Like,
Right.
you know, you don't really look at it day to day, but you know, maybe you look at
But
it.
that's not what not what the story said.
The
What
story.
Read the headline again, please.
Sure. Let me bring it up for everybody here. If I can only get my machine to work. All right. So this is what it said. Small businesses struggle to find their footing 1 month into the Trump 2.0.
That's
And I just asked you, what are you guys thinking? That's all.
But I'm
that's all the
saying
headline. That's all
my thought is the headline is crap, and I don't understand how they could even make that a
to be honest, we didn't read the full article, so it's just the headline.
I don't even have to. I already know where they're going.
Okay.
Well, and then they're citing invoices, and invoices have like a 30-day,
30 days,
60-day, you know, and so it's like
they're struggling. They're struggling to pay their 90-day invoice 30 days in.
But I'm sorry, guys. You have to stop critically thinking about these things, and you need to react emotionally as much as possible, because that's what drives interest and engagement.
Well, and that's why they put these articles out there, of course. I mean, let's face it.
Critical thinking is not allowed.
But it's not a dumb question to ask. What are you feeling a month in? Right? I'm not saying,
but I don't think
stats.
they asked enough.
What are you
people.
feeling?
I don't think they asked enough.
How did you know you didn't read the article? I don't know how many.
I don't think. I didn't read it, but
I mean, so if I put up an article that says it's great times, would I get the same reaction?
Yes, you probably get the same reaction.
Okay, well, that's honest. At least you.
Yes,
cool.
I would definitely. If
so
somebody
whether
was
it's
all
negative or positive,
cheerleader-y,
okay, good.
look,
All right.
Yes, I jump on cheerleaders too.
I was like, we have all seen. So, like, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the last time. Maybe in 2008, real estate people were unhappy. But I cannot remember a time when any kind of data came out that said entrepreneurs were disheartened or disillusioned or like anybody, or is it selective memory on my part?
Probably not.
Right.
Was that you're saying that was the last time entrepreneurs were disheartened?
I cannot remember a time when I saw a small business survey that said entrepreneurs were not optimistic and that there wasn't at least 25% and above that felt they were optimistic. I can't remember. I don't know. And I'm thinking, you know, was it maybe 2008 when every other house was for sale in my neighborhood? Possibly. I don't know. But I think even then.
Didn't the pandemic cause a lot of...
people were like, we shall overcome.
I'm not going.
The Edelman Trust Barometer... that's another one. We were just talking about entrepreneurship and like reasons people start businesses and so on and so forth. The Gallup, is it Gallup survey that does employee engagement? Employee engagement has been teetering between like 31 to 35%. I'm like, seriously? That's not bad.
That
is
ain't
not
good.
bad.
That ain't good. And I think,
It's not good, but it ain't bad.
well, you know what? It's getting worse because a lot of these folks are really not with the go back to the office routine. And a
I'm
lot
just
of these
kind of
companies
see
are
that
trying
doesn't
to do that. And they're finding it difficult to get people to go back.
Let's see. Now I gotta see, but I don't know when they run this.
When even it starts
30
at
30 to
hard
33%.
That's not good.
No. A global average is 23%. US is between 30 and 33.
So at least we're better than them. I guess that's the way to put it.
Go figure. Just like absolutely.
Well, we're always better than the world. I mean, our economy is definitely better than the world, and our innovation is definitely better than the world. But it's not better than our expectations for what we think we deserve.
We're not
That's
happy. The happiness of Icelandic
you just said that we are happy. What's going on here?
No. Entrepreneurs are optimistic, right? We as a population on the happiness index rank something, I don't know, like in the 20s.
Isn't it like France way higher?
Iceland and like the Nordic countries.
Yeah. Anyway, this is
awesome.
I don't know what to think about this conversation. I don't.
You shouldn't make any determinations yet.
I don't.
That's what you should think.
I'm just saying. I'm talking about me personally. I'm not talking about. I think this is what it means for the broader world or whatever. For me, I don't feel any better about what's going on right now. I mean, from an economic standpoint, I'm seeing like big tech companies laying off folks. Matter of fact, I got one other thing to show before we get out of here.
Okay.
We are way down on the happiness list. We are like, man, like in the 20s something. There we are, 23.
Look at old smiling Zuck. Is he smiling because they just laid off 5% of folks and they're giving their executives bonuses?
Probably.
This is the kind of stuff that, I know it's just a one-off thing, but it doesn't feel,
they've been doing it over and over one-off.
It doesn't feel like, but every year, like I think Microsoft, what do they call it? There's some term they use for pruning or something like that, where they lay off what they call like the worst performers.
Oh, that's a lovely GE strategy. That GE started that. They were like, let's just decimate the psychological contract we have with our employees. Let's just decimate it.
Yeah. So when you see people getting pink slips, but then their bosses are getting raises, that can't make people. It doesn't make me feel any better about what's going on. But
maybe we'll see some small business start. So what?
But wait a minute, hold on, guys. God, y'all have got to stop this stuff.
I don't have to stop nothing.
All right, I mean, pull up Meta's increase in market value.
Oh, it's gone to the roof.
Okay, so you got that happening at the same time, and then some layoffs happen, and then we put this together and show a smiley face of the dude.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, it's just
he's happy.
It's so manufactured.
Yeah, it's all manufactured.
It
doesn't make it's not wrong. It's just
I'm just saying, he's not smiling.
I know. Come on, we know that, but
it's not funny about the layoffs and the cuts. They're getting a 5% bonus because look at their numbers.
If you're the one getting laid off, were they getting salary decreases when it was in the dumps last year?
Probably. I don't know.
No, they weren't. Did you hear executives took a 45% slash because
they never took a slash.
No,
they just didn't get their bonus last time.
Yeah, so they lay off some folks, and that makes their revenue look better, their profit look better because they have less employee costs.
Oh, man. What did I just?
I'm a man of the people. I'm sorry. I'm not.
I'm with you, Brent. But you know what's real interesting? What's real interesting is we forget Meta is publicly traded companies, okay, have one responsibility, and that's one responsibility only. And that is to, what is it? Enhance shareholder value, grow shareholder value, maintain shareholder value. Shareholders are shareholders gaining and growing value is the number one goal for every publicly held company. In fact, I saw a video where back like when it was Ford and Dodge, the guys that this was like from the 30s or 20s, like a long time ago, right? Ford wanted, they were publicly held companies, both of them. Ford wanted to pay his employees more, okay, but paying them more would result in less shareholder value, right? Dodge, who competes with Ford, right, didn't want to like lose employees, didn't want to whatever, took Ford to court. And the court said, you're a publicly traded company. Your number one responsibility is to the shareholder. Therefore, Ford, you cannot raise these salaries. Now, I don't remember the court case. I don't remember the numbers.
I would love to dig into that one.
Like, right? I don't understand
that. The court told Ford you can't raise the employee's salary.
Apparently, he lost that case, apparently.
Kind of crazy.
So the interesting thing is that we have to remember, whether it's Meta or any publicly held company, their number one responsibility, regardless of the story I told, is to the shareholder. Not to the employees, not to the customer.
There's something also called stakeholders, which is a bigger puzzle. And part of the stakeholders are employees who help you get the profits.
They're not, but that's not in the rules.
No, but if you mess over your employees, they're not going to be net. They're probably not going to make as much money for you as you were.
We have been messing with employees for as long as I've been working. So for the last 40, 50 years, we have been doing things that are not nice to employees. And companies always get rewarded for that. And so they keep doing it. Otherwise, they would have stopped.
I don't know if they did reward it all the time. I think there's...
Well, the truth is...
Well, can I do these numbers real quick? Then I got to go for you guys. And y'all can talk about this, right? November 2022, Meta laid off 11,000 workers.
Remember that.
2023 cut 10,000 jobs. Yep. And now 2025, 3,600 jobs. So since 2022, they've laid off over 24,000 people. So that
Microsoft is probably in that big laid off that much too. Amazon definitely laid off.
And so when people talk about is AI going to replace jobs, it's already happening, folks. It's already happening.
But let's be fair on that. It's replacing some jobs, and maybe right now it's a significant amount of jobs, but eventually new jobs will be created around it. And a lot of times, if we look at history, those are higher paying jobs in the end.
Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we shall see. All right. Any last thoughts since you got to get out of here, Mr. Ice?
I do. I'm sorry.
No, I said.
Okay. My last thought is we never replaced telephone operators.
What?
I don't know. That just came to me. It's like, those jobs gone. Bye-bye.
When's the last time you spoke to a telephone operator?
One ringy dingy.
Oh my God. Yeah, go away, please. All right. Leland.
Always look for the opportunities that are, I guess you would call diamonds in the rough, even though the job may be dirty or something like that. Dig and you may find a diamond.
Dig? Well, you won't find a diamond if you don't dig.
If you don't dig, yeah.
Yeah. So you may find one if you dig, but you won't find one if you don't dig. All right. That's almost a mini mic drop there, Leland. That's a good one. But now we need the full-blown mic drop.
I think I gave my mic drop early. I think I'm going to say stay what I would call realistically optimistic, right? We just went through a whole exercise through some critical thinking, and maybe John was right. You don't need to be reading the news. You just need to be making your customers happy. Do whatever it takes.
Yeah, that is definitely not a mic drop when you say
No, I'm sorry. The mic drop is that.
more like a
What
mic
did I
slap
say?
out of your hands for saying something like that. But you know.
No, I even forget what I said. That was my early mic drop. There was this one about.
It was the one if you eat ice cream and it's more or
It's right, and the other one was it doesn't matter. Money's money, no matter where it comes from. It spends the same.
oh yeah, so you had multiple mic drops, but
I had multiple ones, but they were early in the session.
but you also had a mic slap because as soon as you said Mike, John was right. I slapped him right out here. All right. Thank you for Ultra Nomo was putting some things in here. Sorry we didn't get a chance to dig in, but you were talking about the economy stuff too. So but thank you for joining us. We will be back next Friday. I almost wanted to do that. If it's Friday afternoon, it's Small Business Breakdown. Like, you remember how they used to do that with Meet the Press? If it's Sunday, anyway. We'll see you next week.